All right, what's happening, y'all? It's Rico from StreetScores, man, and we got hit with two different sides of the same injury coin, man, because on one side, we have horrible Terry McLaurin news, but on the other side, we have good Jayden Daniels news. Of course, we got to dive into all of that, especially like Terry McLaurin. I want to really do like a deep dive, not only on all of the injuries that are going on this week, but overall, just the injuries that have hit this team throughout this entire season. I really want to do a deep dive into whether we can even blame injuries for how this season is gone and all of that type of stuff, man. So we got to talk about, again, it's not just Terry and Jayden Daniels. You have Laramie Tunsil banged up, Javon Kinlaw banged up, among many other players as well. So we're going to dive into all of that and more, but before we do, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Appreciate everybody for the patience, man. I haven't made a video in like a day, but I just ended up super busy. I'm happy that y'all stayed waiting around. I have y'all updated on everything Commanders. Daily videos, we're right back at it like nothing ever happened. Shouts out to the watch to the end gang, man. Those of y'all watching all the way to the end, man, y'all are the goats, man. Shouts out to Noti gang that's there immediately, and shouts out to my late night crew. Even though I'm recording this at 6:30 p.m., shouts out to those of y'all that will be watching this vampire hours when I'm usually up anyway. Either way, let's go and dive into this video right now, man. Let's get it. Adam. All right, first of all, shouts out to my dog Reggie T for donating to the Cash App because he was not there for the live stream Monday night. And he went out of his way to make sure he donated anyway because he donates typically for every touchdown every time we score. And since he wasn't there for the stream, he made sure he donated immediately after the game was over. So big shout out to my boy Reggie T, because again, if y'all donate and I'm not there live streaming, like literally live, to thank y'all immediately when y'all do it, for like the very least I can do is my very next video to make sure I thank you. So shouts out to my boy Reggie T for that big time Cash App donation. And also I wanted to add to y'all, let y'all know that, I don't know if y'all have noticed, at the bottom left of the screen, I've added new Brody and Aja videos for the first time in probably like a couple of years. Like it really was due time. So I'm happy I finally got that done. It was on my to-do list. Finally got that done. It took a long time for me to go through the videos and make sure they were good videos for it and everything like that, because I don't want to just have a whole bunch of randomness or chaos going on. I don't want the, back, a while ago, I remember, if y'all are here long enough, y'all would see sometimes the videos, like the video would be bigger than like the small little phone I have at the bottom left. Sometimes it would go out of it, or it would be inside of it and it would be like black space. So I made sure I went through and did all of that. So it's now like 50 plus new videos added to the rotation of Brody and Aja. For those of y'all that actually care and look at the bottom left during these videos, man, you're also going to see dogs from, other dogs that's in my family as well that I don't necessarily own, that don't live with me, but, my family members have them that come around every once in a while. But now, let's dive into the injury update, starting with the positive Jayden Daniel news, especially before we get to this Terry McLaurin situation, boy. And as I'm talking, you'll see some Jayden Daniels clips from today, like practicing earlier today and Wednesday. Even though it was a light practice, he was still out there doing his thing. So again, while I'm talking, you can look at him and kind of surmise from it, like how you feel about Jayden Daniels' injury. Do you think he's likely to play this Sunday night against the Seattle Seahawks? But head coach Dan Quinn said that Jayden Daniels' hamstring will practice full all week. He said that earlier today before practice started. That was like at 3:18 p.m. when he spoke to the media. And then even yesterday, he said that the quarterback had a good rehab session on Sunday, and the plan was for him to be a part of Washington moving forward going into this Sunday night football game against Seattle. Remember last week, they went ahead and announced he was not playing against the Kansas City Chiefs Monday night as early as like Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. They just went ahead and get it out the way so that Marcus Mariota could go throughout the entire week knowing that he's the starter, preparing as the starter and all of that type of stuff, gaining chemistry with the receivers, Cliff Kingsbury designing an offense around Marcus Mariota's strengths and things like that. But this week is different. They're hopeful that Jayden Daniels will be able to play, and again, he's already practicing as of Monday. But again, as of yesterday, bro, I mean, it was all sorts of things going on. Like you had Adam Schefter going on the Pat McAfee show saying that they wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders hold Jayden Daniels out of this upcoming game Sunday night against the Seattle Seahawks, because we may be playing it safe and things like that. But, I mean, I just already knew if Jayden Daniels is healthy enough to play, Dan Quinn's going to play him. And then shouts out to Reese De La Ghetto on Twitter. He brought up a great point. He said, I'd be extremely careful given he has 2 lower extremity injuries on 2 separate legs. Your body will naturally try to overcompensate, and him playing hero ball also won't help. Call it scary. I don't care. Protect the franchise quarterback. And I understand that. And the reason I bring up that point, because that is a valid point, even though I'm pushing against it, again, I feel like if Jayden Daniels is healthy enough to play, and I mean, we got to talk about what healthy enough means, honestly. I feel like that's more so than anything. Like, if he's banged up, if he's limping, of course, don't play him. But if he feels like he can go out there and do everything he needs to do, if he feels like he's healthy enough to even do quarterback runs, quarterback design runs, quarterback power, read option, all of that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? If he's healthy enough to do all of that, then he should go play. If he's not, yeah, don't play him. But I feel like some people are saying, like, shut Jayden Daniels down because the season is ugly. We're losing anyway. There's a lot of injuries all over the place and all of that type of stuff. I don't agree with that, me personally. I feel like if he's good enough to go, send him out there. But shouts out to Ben Standig. While quote tweeting one of the practice clips that I showed y'all that was uploaded by Ethan Godot, he said, promising start to the week. Better sign will be if he's able to practice in full the next 2 days. Because again, mind you, Wednesday's practice, October 29th, today, was a light practice, especially coming off of a short week. Because mind you, this is a short week since we played Monday night, and then we got to turn around and play Sunday night the very next week. So just to mind you, so this was a light practice. So he practiced full light practice. Let's see if he practices full in real practices Thursday and Friday. Just wanted to make sure we noted that. Don't get too excited about the fact that Jayden Daniels practiced today, because it wasn't a normal practice. But shouts out to Sean Reed. He brought up a great point that we have good news. Jayden Daniels looks like he's going to return versus the Seahawks, but then we also have bad news. Terry McLaurin is out again, and the statuses of left tackle Larry Tunsil and Matt Gay are in question. Now, before we get into all of that, before we do a deep dive, because a big 60% middle chunk of this video is going to be dedicated to Terry McLaurin only. Before we get to all of that, shouts out to Sleeper, man, and with them, you have a chance to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football, man. We're getting Jayden Daniels back. We're not getting Terry back, though. We just got him back. We just lost him, but we're getting Jayden Daniels back. We're going to have Debo healthy. And remember, all it took was Jayden and Debo and Bill to go out there and do the Chargers crazy. The way, boy, that second half of that game, man, that was the best half of football we've seen from the Commanders all season. You could argue that first half against the Chiefs was the best defensive half we had all season, but that second half of that Chargers game was probably the best this entire team has looked in a half all season. And again, we didn't have Terry for that game, so hopefully Jayden, Debo, and Bill can do what we have to do. And you can pick on stats for these stars like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. And right now, new users can even get a free $20 without a deposit, as you can see on the screen, on top of the already get a 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit using promo code SCORE, that's SCORE, or you can just click the link at the top of the description of this video and every video on live stream I'm doing all season. Speaking of live streams, of course, I will be live streaming this upcoming game Sunday night versus Seattle Seahawks, so make sure you pull up for that. But also, I have some picks that I want to dive into with y'all as well. I already have one 8-leg where I'm trying to turn 10 into nearly $600, 10 into 573. And this is relatively safe in a lot of ways. Like Lamar Jackson, all he has to do is get one passing yard. We're good for that, right? Well, that's easy. And even when you scroll down, like I took Evan Ingram's receiving total to, I think it was set at 28 and a half. I took it down to 25 plus, and I think he'll definitely hit that, because he's been hitting that almost nearly all season except for September 14th, bro. He's been clearing it easily. I think Isaiah Likely, now with Lamar Jackson back at quarterback, bro, I think he can get you 20 and a half receiving yards, bro. Alec Pierce, that's another one where his line was set at 38 and a half receiving yards. I put it all the way down to 25 plus. I think he can get that easily. Juju Smith-Schuster, it's at 25 and a half. I think he can easily do that, bro. He's been hitting that for a long time now, actually. I did it at 11 and a half, actually. Some people did it at 11 and a half. I'm still going strong with the 25 and a half. I think he can definitely do that. He's done that almost every game outside of October 6th. Then you have JJ McCarthy. I think I'm going less on the 211 and a half passing yards. If he throws for 211 passing yards or less, then we are good there. So I'm going less there, but everything else I'm going over. Like Jackson Smith and Jigba against us. His line is at 93.5. I went over. We'll see. I mean, hey, Commanders surprised me. If the number one leading receiver in the NFL does not go crazy against this secondary, then, hey, first of all, color me shocked. And secondly, hey, shouts out to the Commanders because maybe you win the game. If they can find a way to shut down Jackson Smith and Jigba, which pretty much no team in the NFL has done this season, then, hey, more power to the Commanders and you probably win that game. So I'll take it. That's a win-win. Either we shut down Jackson Smith and Jigba and we win the game, or Jackson Smith and Jigba goes crazy. Maybe we still have a chance to win the game. And also, we're potentially turning 10 into 573. And Mark Andrews, bro. I have Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely here because both of those guys, I mean, at least Mark Andrews can get 27.5 receiving yards, candy, but I have him all the way down at 25. So again, if you trust me, if you want to follow the A-leg, there you go right there. I put 10 on it. Could potentially get back 573. And again, shouts out to Sleeper because with them, depending on how you do your combo, you could end up 1,000 times in your cash. That's literally $1 for $1,000 depending on how you finesse it. Now, let's go ahead and get back to this video. Let's dive into this Terry McLaurin situation, man. The elephant in the room. Terry. You are out again? Same injury, bro. Same injury. It's already been announced. I saw it from NFL's official Twitter account. Commanders head coach Dan Quinn said that Terry McLaurin's quad is out for Sunday. And Rico's Rag brought up a great point. He said they had this in the templates. All you had to do was just change the week and you're off to go. Because it's literally like the same Terry McLaurin picture. Will miss, and then all you got to do is just change the week from week whatever to week whatever now to week 9. And then Terry McLaurin with the alert and everything, their whole graphic and all of that, bro. It is crazy. We're right back to where we started with the Terry McLaurin injury, bro. So the Commanders have officially ruled Terry McLaurin out of Sunday night's game versus the Seattle Seahawks. He re-injured his quad against the Chiefs. This is not a new injury. This is the same injury that kept him out for several weeks prior. What a nightmare season to the outstanding wide receiver, with him already going into his 7th year campaign, super banged up, man. It's been, I mean, from holding out in training camp to coming back only playing a couple of games, hurt, coming back, hurt again, bro. I mean, and also, already, Dan Quinn and Commanders, y'all already announced he's out. It's Wednesday. Is that bad? Like, that's what really scares me, because they kept acting like he would play all week until they would tell us, on Saturday that he wouldn't play. Really, the past few weeks. And then now, this week, they just straight up told us Wednesday afternoon, he's already out for Sunday. That's the quickest they've announced him out all season. So that really scares me, man. Is the injury that bad? Is it worse than what it was before when he was out for several weeks? We'll have to see. I mean, and now also on top of that, we haven't had Terry and Jayden, let alone Debo, added to it. How about Terry and Jayden haven't played together since week 2 against the Green Bay Packers? And that was a game where we were set up for failure, where it was a short week and we were on the road, bro. It was ugly going into that game. So now, shouts out to the Commanders realm for pointing out the fact that Sunday will be the 7th game in a row where now Terry McLaurin and Jayden Daniels will not be on the field together. They connected for 12 passing touchdowns last season, yet this season they can never get on the field together. I mean, think about it. Week 1, you have Jayden, Terry, Debo. Week 2, you have Jayden, Terry, Debo. Then here it goes starting. Week 3, Mariota, Terry, Debo. Week 4, Mariota, Debo. No Terry, no Jayden. Week 5, Jayden, Debo, no Terry. Week 6, Jayden, Debo, no Terry. Week 7, Jayden, no Terry, nor any Debo. Week 8, you get Terry and Debo back, no Jayden, Mariota. Then you have week 9, Jayden Daniels coming up, and Debo, no Terry. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous how this season has gone. Shouts out to Menares DC on Twitter too, saying Terry McLaurin has been the most consistent player of the last decade for the Commanders. It had to come to an end at some point, and Washington has been getting killed by injuries all season, bro. And it's crazy because he has been the symbol for consistency, bro. He's always been dependable. He hadn't missed a game for 4 seasons in a row, and now suddenly he's missing almost every game this season, bro, as soon as he gets the big contract. Shouts out to George Carmen. He said, truly a rough season for the team. The Commanders have yet to roll out their projected starting lineup in all of 2025. If you throw in Samuel Cosmi, we have yet to have our real supposed starting offense out there for any game, including this summer, because you have to include the fact that Samuel Cosmi was out until just a couple of weeks ago, and Terry McLaurin was holding out all training camp. But either way, between the 3 Pro Bowlers of Samuel Cosmi, Jayden Daniels, and Terry McLaurin, they have now missed a total of 13 games combined this season. Again, we have yet to go out there in a single game where you had all 3 of your Pro Bowl staple cornerstone offensive players, bro. On top of the fact that now we got to talk about the fact that Laramie Tunsil just got hurt. We're going to talk about that and really dive into that later and like to really see how hurt he may potentially be. But like Laramie Tunsil, you now have to add to that list as well as your Pro Bowl left tackle. But Terry McLaurin said after the game, like literally the night, immediately after the Chiefs lost, he said that he was pretty optimistic about his quad injury and said he'll see how he feels tomorrow and that he'll take it day by day. Like from there, I was like, okay, maybe he's good to go. And even after the game, people showed him walking off the field with Bobby Wagner and Mike Sainristil after the game ended, and he was walking just fine, no limp, no nothing. But to that point, remember, last time he was out for a few weeks, we were pointing out the fact that, especially me, I was guilty of this, pointing out the fact that he was the one that went and grabbed Luke McCaffrey's touchdown when he scored that touchdown in that Raiders game, and he looked just fine then, and then he ended up still missing a few weeks. So he looks fine after the Chiefs game. Lo and behold, he's probably going to miss a lot of time as well from this. Shouts out to Nick Agridge. He said the season from hell, wake me up in April. Now, I don't think it's that bad, but I thought it was funny. And yeah, I mean, this is a really chaotic season. Again, we're going to dive into how bad the injuries have plagued our season a little later on in the video towards the end. But shouts out to Jahan OPOY. He said, week 9, and I've seen my QB1 and wide receiver 1 play together twice, but it's okay because today's a beautiful day, and he has a whole bunch of thumbs up emojis, which I thought was funny. But I mean, it is ugly. I mean, shouts out to Zach Selby for even pointing out the fact that Quinn cannot say for certain when McLaurin's injury occurred, but believes it was on the 25-yard diving sideline catch in the third quarter during Monday's game. The amazing catch that he had that had to be reviewed and all of that type. It was a ridiculous catch. But that catch also showed you why you miss Terry McLaurin so much. That's the worst part about all of this to me. Like, Terry McLaurin went out there in that game and showed you with that touchdown and that sideline catch that potentially re-aggravated his injury why you need Terry so bad. So it sucks even more that you don't have him because he went out there and showed you this is why you paid him all of that money. But of course, he did not return to the field after that play. I don't know if a lot of y'all noticed this, but after he made that 25-yard diving sideline catch, the amazing catch that he had, he never returned back to the game. Not only was he not targeted, we all noticed that. He wasn't targeted, he didn't have any catches, but also he never even got off the sideline after he made that catch. And McLaurin, of course, has dealt with a quad injury since week 3 and only just made a full return to practice last week and said last Friday that only recently he started to feel like himself. Well, there we go. McLaurin just caught 3 passes for 54 yards, including an 11-yard touchdown to tie the score before halftime. But now, McLaurin has 13 receptions, 203 yards, and a touchdown in only 4 games this season that he's played, and he's going to end up missing more, at the very least, this upcoming Sunday night against the Seahawks, confirmed. But Dan Quinn said, quote, too early to tell, unquote, as far as how long Terry McLaurin will be out, but he hopes that it's not significant. But what do you mean by too early to tell? To me, that sounds like he's out at least more than 1 game. You're like too early to tell, because just like last week with Jayden, they said something to the extent of like, yeah, he's going to be out this week against the Chiefs, but the plan is for him to be back next week against the Seahawks. Terry, on the other hand, is just out. Like, that's all he said. He's out. No, okay, he's out this week, but we plan on him coming back next week against the Lions. Nope, just out. That's it. So the Terry McLaurin situation seems worse than even the Jayden Daniels situation going into last week. But Dan Quinn said they're unsure of yet how much time McLaurin might miss, but as of right now, it's not considered long-term. And I'm just looking at like, yeah, okay. I'll believe it when I see it about it being not long-term. But Dan Quinn talked about if they needed to add a wide receiver. He was literally asked that. He said, quote, this is not something that will knock McLaurin out long-term. We hope. But we're comfortable where we're at, unquote, as far as talking about wide receivers. So don't expect any big wide receiver trade leading up to the trade deadline. If anything, most people would argue that we need to be sellers at the trade deadline and try to get more draft picks, especially since we don't have like a 2nd and a 4th going into this draft because of the Tunsil trade and things like that. But either way, man, it's just ugly. Again, don't expect any big wide receiver trade. We're just going to keep going what we have right now. It's going to be Debo and Jayden Daniels out there. Hopefully those guys can stay healthy until Terry McLaurin comes back, whenever that may be. But, of course, now the question is, are we going to end up putting him on the injured reserve? You know, they played games with Noah Brown. He was out from week 2 all the way to like week 5 or 6, and then they finally put him on IR, which kept him out for a minimum of another 4 weeks after that, which, you know, But as of today, probably has like another 2 or 3 games before he can return, and that's even if he's ready by then. We'll have to see. Just because, my point is, just because they don't put Terry McLaurin on IR does not mean that he'll return within four weeks or anything like that. I mean, just him. He got hurt in week 3. We didn't see him again until week 8. And he was not placed on IR. So we'll see what happens with the situation. Hopefully he doesn't end up on IR, but at the same time, even if he doesn't, that doesn't mean he'll be back very soon. But shouts out to Marshall. He said Terry is cooked. Better luck in 2026, brother. Doesn't seem like something that'll resolve without extended rest. And that is an interesting point right there. I'm hoping he's wrong, but that's a great point that, like, it felt like they didn't rush Terry McLaurin back. But he still went out there and ended up re-aggravating the injury. So now it's like, maybe he should just stay out for an entire season. Because even if for himself he feels like he's good, and even if he feels like he's 100% ready, maybe that injury is just lingering enough to where even though he doesn't feel it, it's prevalent. And he goes out there and overexerts himself and then ends up re-aggravating it. We'll see. Again, I'm hoping that's not the case, but we'll see. But again, Dan Quinn said Washington is comfortable with their wide receiver room even if Terry McLaurin is out. And well, I'm not. But maybe we could play like how we did against the Chargers, where it was Jayden and Debo with no Terry, and they still went out there and balled out. Also, maybe Jalen Lane finds a pair of hands that work off of Craigslist or something, or whoever you can get some pair of hands from. Or maybe even Treylon Burks is ready to contribute finally. We'll see. Who knows? But the wide receiver room without Terry McLaurin, of course, is not as good as it would be if you had Terry McLaurin, because he was out there making plays that only Terry McLaurin can make on this roster with a couple of those catches he had in that game. I love Debo, but that interception that he allowed to happen on that throw where it went straight to his chest. Mariota threw it right to his chest, and he ends up turning his head too quickly trying to run, and the next thing you know, it's a turnover for the Chiefs, and we ended up not getting points there, and that ended up hurting us long term by the end of the game. Who knows? Completely different game if we don't have that interception. Again, I love Debo Samuel, but Terry McLaurin definitely has the best hands on this roster because, again, Jalen Lane can't catch kickoffs nor passes. So, but either way, shouts out to Ben Standig pointing out the fact that there's no guarantee Treylon Burks is added off of the practice squad anytime soon. The 2022 first-round pick's arrival, however, is symbolic of the Commander-specific wide receiver questions, even with Terry McLaurin and Debo Samuel returning to practice. Mind you, this is before the Chiefs game. So this is before Terry McLaurin got hurt again that we were talking about Treylon Burks. You got to remember that this was the guy that the Titans traded A.J. Brown away to the Eagles to draft him, to get Treylon Burks. They felt like, oh, we could just trade away A.J. Brown and then draft Treylon Burks because he's going to potentially be better than A.J. Brown. So the talent is lying dormant there somewhere. I'm not saying he'll ever live up to A.J. Brown expectations or level of production or talent or whatever, but there was a reason why people viewed him that way coming out of the draft. And again, mind you, he's the only first-round pick wide receiver on this whole roster. Even with Terry and Debo healthy, Terry third-round pick, Debo second-round pick. I think Chris Moore and Robbie Anderson were probably undrafted, I'm assuming. Jalen Lane, 4th-round pick. Luke McCaffrey, 3rd-round pick, bro. So he's our highest drafted wide receiver on the roster. I'm not saying he'll be the answer, but I'm just hoping that his talent can shine through with maybe at least Jayden Daniels at quarterback compared to the quarterbacks that he had at his disposal with the Titans. I feel like that definitely played a role into what happened with Treylon Burks, bro. It had to have, bro. I mean, just think about it. Let me go pull up the list of quarterbacks that he played with, man. I mean, it's absolutely abysmal. And you can't convince me that Jayden Daniels isn't at least significant enough of a better quarterback than these guys to where Treylon Burks may actually finally start to show a little something. Ryan Tannehill on his last leg. Malik Willis, and that's my Westlake dog right there. Same high school and all of that. But he didn't finally get his stuff together until he became a backup for the Green Bay Packers. Josh Dobbs and Will Levis, bro. Those are the quarterbacks he had to deal with. So who knows, bro? Maybe getting passes thrown to him from Jayden Daniels, being in a Cliff Kingsbury offense, maybe he'll realize some of that talent. I mean, he's shown flashes for the Titans. We'll see. But either way, speaking of Robbie Chosen, he's back. They went ahead and signed him back to the practice squad just a couple of hours ago, man, and thank goodness. And, of course, when I saw this is before we even found out that Terry McLaurin was officially out. So this gave us the heads up like, hey, Terry McLaurin may not be able to play against the Seahawks, and maybe he even misses even more time than that, because why would they go and get Robbie Chosen back to the practice squad before Dan Quinn even had his press conference before practice today? But at the same time, though, Washington cut Robbie Chosen to make room on roster for the kicker Matthew Wright that we had to sign off the streets because Matt Gay ended up being hurt going into that game. We had to sign him like literally, was it the morning of, like Sunday? like literally Monday morning before the game Monday night. And granted, the kicker didn't even make it a full 24 hours on the team, bro. Like, that was crazy. Shouts out to Grant Paulson for pointing out the fact that Matthew Wright is going to be an amazing trivia question answer someday. He spent roughly 23 hours and 41 minutes with the Commanders and made an extra point and kicked off twice on Monday Night Football against Kansas City, bro. I mean, it was the revolving door, the little mouse meme from Cat Dog, bro. Or you can even just say the Simpsons meme where he put on the hat and left right out. It was crazy. But either way, my point is, going back to my main point, Robbie Chosen got kicked off the team and then brought back because we had to make room for a kicker. That's not necessarily some sort of like a sign as to Terry McLaurin is hurt or not hurt in any way. I know he's a receiver and everything like that, but it's more so the kicker situation than the Terry situation, the movement with Robbie Chosen on and off the roster and things like that. But either way, it's officially been announced that Robbie Chosen was re-signed to the squad, and Nicky Javali even pointed out the fact that Chosen watched the game from the press box. He was not on the team and still went with the team to Kansas City to watch that game. So they already knew, they already had it in the back of their minds that even before Terry McLaurin got hurt, when he was still fully healthy in everybody's eyes and minds, they still brought Robbie Chosen with them to the stadium, and he traveled with the team, traveled back with the team, and re-signed shortly, immediately after the game, as soon as they got rid of the kicker, the right guy that they brought in just because Matt Gay couldn't play for that game. As soon as they released him, Robbie Chosen was back on the roster. So that just shows that even if Terry McLaurin were fully healthy, Robbie Chosen would have still ended up being re-signed. But either way, he's here, and Terry McLaurin is not. Now, speaking of other injury updates, you also have Laramie Tunsil dealing with a hamstring injury. Matt Gay still dealing with that back injury that kept him out for the Chiefs game. They will not practice. They ended up not practicing today, Wednesday, October 29th, which is not good. We'll see if they end up playing against the Seattle Seahawks, and Dan Quinn even said we'll have a better sense of what's going on by Friday, but that is not good that neither your starting kicker nor your Pro Bowl starting left tackle are able to practice on Wednesday. So Terry McLaurin's already been ruled out for Sunday. Laramie Tunsil and Matt Gay are question marks. And we still don't even have a 100% guarantee for Jayden, even though I think he'll more than likely play. But this situation is really ugly, bro. This injury situation in this team is insane, bro. We have to be the most hurt team in the NFL, bro. We have to be. Not to mention the top 3 edge rushers on your team are already out for potentially for the season. On top of your starting safety, Will Harris, who was our best coverage guy for tight ends, he's out for an extended period of time, bro. It's just ugly. Shouts out to Marshall. He said, I'm already peed off about the skippity dee-doo Debo package stuff on Sunday night that won't work because he lost 2 steps dealing with a heel injury. And I just thought that was funny because, like, I mean, with Terry out, and especially once he got hurt, our screen game was non-existent against the Chiefs. They just were like, we dare you to throw the ball against us down the field, bro. Terry's banged up, and then once Terry got hurt and he never came back into the game, our screen game literally just couldn't work. You couldn't even blame Cliff Kingsbury for it because the Chiefs defense literally was just attacking the screens, attacking our run game, and was just like, I dare Debo or any of these other receivers on this team, especially with Robbie Chosen. Now, Robbie Chosen was our best receiver against the Cowboys. With neither of those guys available, Terry nor Robbie Chosen, we dare y'all to throw the ball. And Marcus Mariota just wasn't able to do it consistently. Or you had no Yak Zach either dropping a pass or not being able to get more Yak yardage than he should have. Even though the refs did, they trolled us with that one spotting where we ended up not getting the 4th down. We definitely got sold on that one. But, I mean, I'm just all over the place, bro. This injury situation is so ugly. Shouts out to JP Finley. He said with the trade deadline approaching, Dan Quinn says that he knows Adam Peters in the front office will stand on top of the calls. And if something emerges, he'll be brought in. Just like last year where they ended up Marshawn Lattimore getting put on their table out of nowhere. But again, most people feel like we should probably be sellers if anything. But Dan Quinn said, quote, they're going to stay resilient. We've got all we need to play well, unquote, on this team right now, even with the injuries that we have. Hey, shouts out to him for being so optimistic. I'm Mr. Optimistic, but bro, we need our guys back and healthy. Speaking of that, sounds like Javon Kinlaw should be good. He said after the game, quote, I'm good. I'm all right. I'm all good. I just landed with all of my body weight on my shoulder. I'm good, though, unquote. And that's good to hear because we at least need Javon Kinlaw to stay healthy. I mean, Deron Payne went into that game with a toe injury. He ended up playing and he played pretty well. But then Javon Kinlaw got hurt during the game with a shoulder injury. I was super afraid of that one. But Dan Quinn even said that Javon Kinlaw could have returned in the game if we felt like we really had a chance of still winning. They just felt like they might as well hold him out since, you know, all of the injuries were piling up and we were already down and we lost all of the momentum. So it's good to hear that at least Javon Kinlaw, we have some positive news there. Bad news, Laramie Tunsil, Matt Gay, Terry McLaurin. at least somewhat good news, Javon Killon, Jayden Daniels. But now I want to do a deep dive into how these injuries are piling up, bro. Shouts out to Disco. He said it's okay to say injuries have derailed our season so far. All that injuries are no excuse is just tough talk. I completely agree wholeheartedly, bro. I don't like how people are just trying to skip over the fact that I know every team in the NFL is hurt. But I think there's levels to it, bro. We are more hurt than every other team in the NFL. I would love for somebody to prove me differently, bro. Shouts out to EB Junkies. He said, Jayden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Dorrance Armstrong, Laramie Tunsil, Dietrich Wise, Noah Brown, and Noah Monogany. The list goes on and on. Nobody wants to blame injuries, but I will. Injuries have destroyed this team. This team is too old. It's a fatal flaw, but injuries basically sealed the fate. And this was before the Chiefs game even started. Look at this. Nikki Javala uploaded this list of all of the injuries that we have right now. And mind you, this is before the Chiefs game. Again, I just want to reiterate that. So now you have to add Laramie Tunsil to this list, and you have to add at least one more game, another number, to Terry McLaurin's name next to him on the list. So, I mean, this injury situation for this team is different, bro. This is different from other NFL teams. This is different from other NFL seasons. I don't remember a time in my lifetime of being a Burgundy and Gold fan where injuries were this bad for our team, bro. We've had some really bad injury seasons. This one may be the worst, especially when you consider who it's happening to. It's not just random backups and depth players and rotational players. It's like all of the elite guys, bro. The Pro Bowlers, left and right, the all-pro guys, left and right, just drop in like flies. We get one Pro Bowler back, but the other Pro Bowler's out. We could just never put together the right team, fully healthy team that a lot of other teams have been afforded the luck to be able to do this season, bro. And shouts out to John Com. He said it wasn't about effort or energy as far as the loss versus the Chiefs. Just not good enough. Clearly injuries haven't helped, but the reality is 3-5 with Seattle and Detroit on deck. Not ideal at all, bro. It's definitely the injury. Shouts out to Ken Johannesson, Burgundy Burner. He said, oh, well, the fight early on was good in that Chiefs game, but this team is just too wounded and can't sustain it for all 4 quarters because we're wounded. It will be interesting to see if Adam Peters is a seller this week and early next week. But, I mean, going back to that point that, like, we can't sustain it for 4 quarters, bro. I mean, honestly, I'm actually pretty surprised and positively shocked at the energy and the intensity that we came out with in that first half. But at a certain point, the Chiefs made adjustments, and we just couldn't keep up with them because we have injuries everywhere, bro. Especially offensively. Like, we couldn't score because of injuries. We couldn't get pressure on Pat Mahomes as consistently as we should have because of injuries and all of that type of stuff. Shouts out to Mark Tyler. He brings up an interesting point. He said, out with the old, in with the new. Moving forward for the rest of the season, especially with all the injuries that we're dealing with, Sennett needs more targets over Ertz. Luke needs more targets, period. You saw that catch he made against the Chiefs. Come on now. Wagner needs to come off the field on obvious passing downs. Jordan McGee saw a ton of time. Keep that up. Give him more if anything. I like how we use Tyler Owens. Get him more reps as well. He's going to make mistakes, but get him more reps and keep Luvu at edge. I agree with all of that, bro. We need to give the younger guys more opportunities to learn moving forward so they can get better. They come with speed. They come with athleticism. They come with youth. You know what I'm saying? These younger guys, maybe they can stay healthy longer and more consistently than these older guys can as well, bro. We have these guys out here skipping practices on Wednesdays because they need rest. How about we just start playing the younger guys that don't need the rest more often? But again, lastly, in good news, Dan Quinn, one last thing he said in his press conference. He said that Marshawn Lattimore played one of his best games against the Chiefs. And I would agree. We'll see. Maybe Marshawn Lattimore, something clicked, and maybe moving forward, he turns into what we hoped we traded for from his prime with the Saints. Maybe Marshawn Lattimore has something going. Maybe that can help be a focal point of this turnaround for this team moving forward. Because, again, that first half was arguably the best defensive half of football we've had all season. And, again, that was without your top 3 edge rushers. So Joe Witt Jr. made some adjustments that really helped. And Marshawn Lattimore being a better corner can help as well. I'm saying all of that to say that the season is not over. But you at least got to get one of these games out of between the Chiefs, Seahawks, and the Lions. You got to at least get one to stay in the hunt for the playoffs. If you don't, then maybe then the season is over. But as of today, the season's not over. And there are reasons why we can be optimistic about certain aspects about this team. And if we could just get everybody back together and healthy, maybe we could do some real damage towards the end of this season, man. Never say never, dog. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know if you have everything discussed. Video, please stiff on that like button, stiff on the subscription button, stiff on the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Appreciate y'all. If you made it this far in the video, I mean, this is 35 minutes worth of injury updates. You made it this far in the video, and that's all I'm talking about. Salute to you. Appreciate you personally, man. thank y'all for staying tuned all the way to the end of the video, man. Y'all don't understand how much that helps me. So shouts out to my Watch to the End gang. Shouts out to everybody that's, again, still watching this video. But shouts out to Noti gang that's on these videos immediately after I release them. Shouts out to my late night crew that's going to be watching this late night, even though I'm putting this out probably by like 8 p.m. this evening. Shouts out to everybody, man. Make sure you leave a like on the way out. And of course, let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in this video, man. How do you feel about the Terry situation? How do you feel about Jayden, Laramie Tunsil? Do you agree with me where we can blame injuries for why this season has gone as terribly as it has? And do you also agree with me that if we could just simply get everybody back healthy, which is a huge if, that is a huge if, but if we could, maybe we could find a way to save this season and make it into the playoffs and all of that type of stuff. So let me know how you feel about all of that. Let me know if you agree, disagree with anything I said. Let me know if you have any additional points to add to anything that I said as well. I'm going to try my best to read and reply to as many comments as possible. I appreciate y'all. Leave a like on the way out, and I'm going to catch y'all later. I'm out.